are all your categories, right?
Right.
And I'm going to show you a couple things here. So for me, there are two things that I use to, well, actually, there's several things that I use to make things faster for myself, and one of them is under scripting. Um, Hold on. Oh, sorry. Let me go back. It's not scripting. Editor extensions, visual scripting, right? There are a couple of leaders in this category that people really like. I think Playmaker by far is the most um, popular, but the one that I like to use is, you'll see there's lots of competition out here now, is called Uscript. And that looks like this. So it's another visual scripting tool. Right? I'll show you both of these in the editor in a second. Oh my god, look at that spaghetti. Anyway, it's $100, but it was I got it when it was $50 in beta, so people have a tendency to do that. But for me, it's worth it because it makes things so much faster as far as like being able to prototype stuff, as opposed to going to like writing C# text, right? And same.
It's node based.
It's very node based, right?
Okay, cool.
And then Playmaker is kind of the same thing, but this is state based, right? So state nodes, basically, you can create like a state machine, right? So you see this door FSM in this picture. So
Sure.
FSM stands for finite state machine, right? And so finite state machine.
It's how one thing is in a state, and then something happens, and it's in another state.
Correct. And I think the the finite part, is really just academia for it doesn't go forever,
Right.
right? It may loop, but it's finite in its bounds.
You could create an infinite loop if you wanted to, but technically it's one move.
Yes. So, but it's a state machine, right? And so a state machine basically is, I'll show you some things. So Playmaker is also paid, and it's $45.
Okay.
Playmaker has the most additions onto it, so people can make additions to say like they make these state machines, and they can put them in the store, or like make modules for it, and they sell their own modules. It's not the Hutong Game Company that's doing it. It's like somebody that said like, oh, here's my door modules, boom, and they put them up.
Right.
Right. Or this is my add-on to this. So anyway, I'm gonna make this smaller. Let's go back to Unity. Now, there's a couple of ways that you need to understand using the Unity Asset Store piece in here, right? So let's say I bought that on the web. It would go to here. Here, I'll pretend to buy this Mixamo Fuse. Okay, we'll go here. You buy it for $100, and then you get this thing. You check out, right? And then I'm gonna do this. 0. Continue shopping. I should kill my shopping cart. I'll kill that later. Anyway, once you've bought something in a Unity Asset Store, it does like I showed you earlier, where it did the import assets, right? And you see that I got this party pack that I downloaded earlier. It does that whole thing, but what if I say like go here, and I'm like, oh, I don't need this anymore, and I just hit delete. Like, oh shit, I've deleted it. Where the fuck did it go? Right? What am I going to do? Well, come back here, go to your asset store. It'll also give you a warning, like when you delete something, it's permanently gone. And what they mean is you can't hit Alt-Z and undo it. But they're not saying you can't undo this, you're forever going to lose this asset to the ether, right?
That's good, because I think I thought I've lost them a bunch of times.
I did too. It took me a little while to go like, oh my god, I just lost all of this work because I just deleted it and all this other stuff, and like, but what they mean is that you can't hit like Control Z or Command Z and undo the delete, right? So now we have to go back to this screen, and you see this. It looks like an inbox with like an arrow pointing down at the top here. So it's like back, forward, home, inbox, shopping cart. Heart. Go to this, and this shows you everything that you've bought in the asset store. Right? You can see that I've got a lot of stuff, but a lot of it's free, some of it's not free. But you can group it by title or by category, so that you can go through your own stuff and sort of be able to filter through exactly what you want. Right? But I usually just go by title because I know exactly what I want and where it's going to be. What was it? That was the two. Well, actually, it was a party pack. Right? Party pack, 2 million user party pack. I don't need to download it again. It has this button here. You can hit that button if you think that you've actually lost some assets. Right?
It doesn't have to have been deleted from like your folder or something.
No, don't even worry about it. But if this button says update, that means that there's a newer version available.
And you want the newer version?
Well, it depends. We should, depending on what it is, you may or may not want the newer version right away. Right?
We'll take note of that. We might talk about that next time.
Yeah. So I'm going to import this and keep going. So there's all the assets that I'm going to import. And an interesting thing about this screen is you can choose to not import certain things. Right? Like, let's say I just want the party hat. I'm going to click None. Let's get... is there a prefab in here? I don't see any prefabs. It's a fucking hat. Party hat. Green material. Let's just grab everything that says party hat. Party hat. Let's get these. Oh, screw it. Let's go all. I'll import it all. I was just... You can choose to bring stuff in or not bring stuff in. Alright. So it's going to take a second.
Okay.
Okay, so... yeah, there's like a whole 15 minutes to talk about why you should or shouldn't download or update things, depending on what's going on.
We'll definitely hit that next week. We'll kind of like keep track of those things that we spend more time on.
You can for sure screw yourself over, so I want to kind of go over it first before you get too deep into it.
Right.
We're going to be very, very directed about the things that we bring into this scene. Even though I've just brought in this party pack scene that we absolutely don't need.
Right.
So anyway.
Example, I see. Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good idea.
But we're going to be very, very careful. So I'm going to go click. So you see, I brought in this party pack, and it's got all these subfolders, right? Let's go to their scenes and see their party pack screen. Yeah, I'm not going to save this current scene because I didn't do anything. Let's hit the play button up here. Right? Oh, okay, it's got music. Alright. Turn these gizmos off. Woo! It's Unity! Party! 2 million users. Fantastic. Okay. And then there's a particles pack example. So I think this is going to be poppers.
Nice.
Yeah. Actually, these are decent examples because I think these particle systems are... There's a couple of interesting... Oh, that fourth one's not firing. One sec. Yeah, I'm not getting any errors. We could debug that later if we need to, but I'll show you that later. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to... I'm gonna make a new scene. And then I'm going to save this scene. Okay, so I'm going to give you a good habit right now. You start a new scene, right? It's not automatically saved. Right? It's just called new scene, right? The first thing I do is I save the scene, right? And then give it a name.
Yeah.
Right? So that I don't assume that it's been saved later on after like an hour and a half of work, right? Walk away and then like the power goes out and then you pull your hair out and punch yourself in the dick.
So here's a question for you. If you save the scene like you just did,
yep.
Is there an option to have it automatically save every 2 minutes or something?
Yes, but there are different things that automatically save by action. So every time you hit I think every time you hit play, it saves your scene.
Okay.
I think that every time you compile scripts, it saves. But I have a tendency to hit Command S just reflexively, just all the time. I hit save all the time, and I don't bother going up here. Like, you won't see me do it on screen. Like, I won't hit save scene here necessarily. You'll just see me hit. You'll just hear it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now let's bring in. I'm going to delete this because we don't really need extra right now, and we're going to make. Let's make our 3 doors world. Okay.
Great.
Assets. Sorry. Game object. Create 3D object. Right.
Let me run with you here. So create a 3D object, and you're creating a plane.
Yep. And there's our ground. Right. Let's look at it from above. On the side, it's infinitely thin. Right.
Sorry, can I back you up a second?
You sure can.
Okay, so it's at the top menu, or the top menu bar. I'm going to go to Assets, Create.
It says Game Object, 3D Object, Create a Plane.
It's not a Create Other. It's not giving me Create 3D Object.
Under Game Object?
Yeah, under Game Object, I only have 4 options. I have Create Empty Child, Create Other, and then it opens up to a bunch of different things, and then Move to View.
That's interesting. Hold on. Let me delete this plane. What about over here under the Hierarchy tab? Do you have the Hierarchy tab?
I do have the Hierarchy tab.
Okay, there's a Create button there.
Got it.
3D Object?
3D Object is not an option. It's like it's 3D text, but I've got like cube, sphere, capsule, so plane. It just doesn't say 3D Object.
Okay. I think you're on an older version of Unity.
Got it. But it's a plane that we're creating, right?
Yes, create a plane.
Okay, got that.
Okay, I will. Hold on.
Did you switch to a 2D view or something like that?
I did. I'll show you that right here in a second. So, you see the up here in my scene view?
Yep.
Is the different axes, right?
Yeah.
X-axis, Y-axis, Z-axis. I always forget the colors, and then in the middle there's a cube, right? And that's the one that turns you from like orthographic or ISO, basically flat projection or perspective, right? It's basically isometric or perspective, but it changes your camera mode from like
so how are you using that eyeball to move the camera around?
Right, which is the next thing. So there are a couple of hotkeys you do need to get into. Actually, there's thought there was a button to do it, like a mouse button, but there's not. Okay, so for me it's Alt, right, or Option. You're on a Mac, right?
Yeah, it's Apple or Command. Yeah.
No, Option. So it's Option or Alt, right?
Option.
Right. And you hold that down, and it'll give you this eyeball.
Very cool. Got it.
Right, and then that will orbit whatever. I think what's in the center of the screen. Okay, so let's keep moving forward. Shall we make 3 doors real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to make a 3D object cube. Okay. Here's another thing.
Making a cube now. Okay.
Yep. So here's another thing for you. I'm going to, let's stick with this. Okay, so I use the middle mouse button, right, by the way, to give me this hand to pan around.
Okay. I don't even have the middle mouse button.
Oh, there's another way to do it. Hold on.
I guess let's just click to the hand there, right?
Yeah, so Alt Option will give you the hand if you hold those both together. But yeah, you can just click to the hand up here, move your scene around, right? Here's another thing for you, Brian, is I now have the cube selected over here, right? If you double...
So for Mac, that's Command Option on the Mac to do the hand. Sorry about that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Okay.
If you double click your object in the hierarchy, it'll zoom to keep it